Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you. Good afternoon in the UK. Welcome to today's Friday Reflections on this Friday, the 5th of February, 2021. I hope everybody is well, wherever you are tuning into this from, and having a good day. Today, I would like to read and discuss some hadiths from this book. I don't know if you can... okay, he's blotting it out somewhere. Oh, there it is. If I put it in front of me, it's interesting now, isn't it? This book, The Way of the Prophet, a selection of hadith by Abdul Ghaffar Hassan, translated by my friend Osama Hassan. And for those on Facebook and Zoom, you'll be able to see this because I can share the screen. Here we are. So, first one that I want to look at is this one, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. On the authority of Anas, who said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to me, O my son, if you are able to begin the morning and begin the evening with no malice towards anyone, then do so. He then said, O my son, for that is my way. He who loves my way has loved me, and he who loves me will be with me in the garden. Tirmidhi, Mishkat, Book of Hadith, Book of Faith, Hadith number 175. Now, this is a very interesting point to begin with. Prophet Muhammad said that if you're able to begin the morning and begin the evening with no malice. Now, what does malice mean? Malice means any kind of bad feeling, negativity, anger, anything negative towards people. If you can begin your day without this and begin the evening without this, then do so. And he said, and for that is my way, i.e. the way of the Prophet Muhammad. This is the way of the Prophet Muhammad. And what does it mean if you begin the morning without any bad feeling towards anyone and begin the evening without any bad feeling towards anyone? It means you go through the whole day without any bad feeling to anybody, because the day is in the middle of the morning and the evening. So we should go throughout the whole day without bad feelings towards anyone, without any negativity towards anyone. And notice that in this hadith, the Prophet Muhammad is not saying that we should have no malice towards our Muslim brothers and sisters. Of course, it's included in that. But the Prophet Muhammad is saying towards anyone, any human being. So we must begin the day without any bad feeling towards any human being. And it doesn't matter whether that person is Jewish or Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, or atheist. We shouldn't be having any bad feelings towards any of them. For this is the way of the Prophet Muhammad. And if we are Muslims, we should be doing our best to live up to this. On the authority of Abu Hurairah, who said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, truly, the religion is ease. Anyone who tries to outdo the religion in strictness, it will overcome him. So remain steadfast and be moderate, and seek help with the journeys of the morning and the evening and a part of the night. This in Bukhari, Mishkat Book of Prayer, hadith number 1246. Truly, the religion is ease. We are not supposed to be making this religion overly difficult. We are not supposed to be harsh, and certainly not harsher than anybody else. The Prophet Muhammad was more strict on himself and easy with other people. And those that are close to the Prophet Muhammad, even to this day, you will see they have this characteristic. You will realize from how they behave, from what they do throughout the day, through what they focus on, what you see them working on. You will see that they are quite strict on themselves and disciplined. But when you actually approach them and spend time with them, they are easygoing with you. They are soft on you. They are not harsh. And also, they don't look down on people. Here, why does it say this? Why did the Prophet Muhammad say this? Anyone who tries to outdo the religion in strictness, it will overcome him. Why this point? And I've read other hadiths where the Prophet Muhammad criticized people who took the religion too strict, who fasted too much, who prayed too much, who, even though these are blessed things to do, these are good things. But the Prophet Muhammad criticized people if they overdid them, because Islam is a way of balance. It's not a way of going to extremes in this way or that way. I mean, people have twisted the word extreme today. We're not talking about those extremists like ISIS, but there's, just overdoing things in this case. And why do people do that? Because then they feel like I'm more religious. And you see them, they puff their chest out. I'm more religious. I'm better. They might not say it. They might not say that they are better, but you see how they look at other people. And it's like they're looking down upon other people. So we have to be very careful that we don't do that. Because that comes from your nafs, that comes from your ego. It doesn't come from, it's sort of the devil tricks us. Like, we think it's coming from faith and spirituality, but the devil is tricking us. So he makes us think that we are more religious and more pious. But if that means you look down upon anybody, you are not. You are the very opposite. So you've got to be careful the way Shaitan can trick us in this way. No, a religion is about balance, and that doesn't mean that we abandon our prayers. It doesn't mean that we abandon our fasts. It doesn't mean that we abandon anything that the religion teaches us to do. But what it means is we keep things in perspective. We don't go too overboard in any of these things that we end up losing the plot. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad warned here in this hadith. Truly, the religion is ease. Anyone who tries to outdo the religion in strictness, it will overcome him. In other words, it will destroy him. So remain steadfast and be moderate, and seek help with the journeys of the morning and the evening and the parts of the night. And why? People today, I don't describe myself as a moderate Muslim, by the way. I don't describe myself as a moderate Muslim. But I do believe that Islam is moderate. So if I'm a Muslim, I should be a moderate human being. Because it is part of Islam to be a moderate human being. To be moderate in how I conduct myself in my affairs with other people. To be moderate in how I approach religion. To be moderate in all respects of my life. And not to go extremes. This is part of Islam. So today, some people, they go around and they say, oh, moderate Muslims. Who are these moderate Muslims? Or they claim to be moderate Muslims, and like implying all of the Muslims are extremists. Well, they've all got the wrong end of the stick really here. Islam is to be moderate. The people who are extremists are taking themselves out of Islam, even if they describe themselves as Muslims. And the people who are extremists and violent and dangerous and terrorists, these people are criminals. They are criminals in every system on the face of the earth. But we're not even discussing that with this hadith. We're talking about just maintaining that balance and understanding. And in order to do this, you have to understand the different priorities that each activity has over us. So we have to understand that, we have a duty to look after our wives or our husband. We have a duty to look after our children. We have a duty to our community. We have a duty to safeguard life. And these all have different priorities. If someone is dying and you can save their life, and it happens to be Salah time, and you're supposed to be reading Salah, and you just walk away from them and then go read your Salah when you could have saved that person's life, then that's not Islam. Your duty in that situation is to help that person and to save their life. You can make up your prayer afterwards, but you will not be able to save his life afterwards. The life is sacred within Islam, and protection of life is one of our highest duties. It's one of the highest priorities of anything within Islam. And it doesn't matter if that person is a Muslim, doesn't matter if they are an atheist, a Christian, they are a human being. They're one of Allah's human beings, who Allah created, who Allah loves. Even if they, in their own time, they make wrong actions or something. We all do. We all sin. We all make mistakes. But Allah still created them. Allah gave them life. So to safeguard that life, to do what we can to help save life, this is a sacred duty upon every Muslim. And it actually comes before pretty much anything else. But at the same time, we don't go to another extreme where we say, okay, I've got all these important things to do, so I'm not going to read my prayers. This is also an extreme. It's an extreme of being irreligious. So we maintain a balance between these. So we fulfill our responsibilities to Allah, and we fulfill our other responsibilities to Allah through looking after our fellow human beings, through being good citizens within our society, through being constructive individuals, through looking after our family, and keeping a balance between all of these different things. And of course, we don't always get it right. I don't always get it right. It's a juggling act. And over time, if we keep in mind that we're supposed to keep a balance between all these things, then we will get better at it, like anything that we set our hearts and minds to. Here's another beautiful hadith. On the authority of Abu Hurairah, who said, I heard Abu Qasim, i.e. the Messenger of Allah, Prophet Muhammad saying, the best of you in Islam are the best of you in character, if they have understanding of their religion. Ahmed and Bukhari's Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, hadith number 285. Notice here, yes, the humanity is above religion. Yes, exactly. This is the point I'm making, but we can actually prove this from the sources. We can prove this from the Quran and hadith. This is not some, you do get some Muslims and they say, oh, this is some imported concept. It's not from Islam. Well, they couldn't be more wrong. It is deeply embedded within the teachings of Islam. So it's not something that's been imported. As the Prophet Muhammad says here in this hadith, the best of you in Islam are the best of you in character. What does this mean? What is character? Character is when you meet a person that they are kind, they are generous, they welcome you, they treat you with respect and keep humility themselves. It doesn't matter whether you are an atheist, a Christian, a Jew, a Sikh, a Hindu, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're English or Pakistani or Arab or Indonesian or wherever you're from. You know, they treat you as their brother or sister in humanity. With all the respects, we call it adab, manners, etiquettes, with all of that it entails. And this is what character is. The people who are best at this are the best in Islam. They're the best Muslims. And notice the Prophet Muhammad SAW, he didn't finish there. He said, if they have understanding of the religion. There's an implication here that there will be those that will not understand the religion, and they will quote hadith, they will quote Quran, but they will not have good character. They will treat people with disrespect. They will gossip behind their back. They will, so many bad things that they will do. They will treat people dishonest. They will not be honest with people. They will defraud them. They'll be dishonest. They'll be two-faced. But they'll be claiming to be Muslims and quoting hadiths and Quran. But they clearly do not understand the religion. They might be able to quote these things, but they lack understanding. Today, this is another problem that I have seen through my 20 years of being a Muslim, that there are a lot of people that they've memorized even. They can quote things in even the ayah of the Quran, or the actual verse of the Quran, or which hadith number it is in Bukhari or Muslim or Muwatta, whichever one they're quoting from. And they can memorize all these things, but they don't have any understanding of what they are reading. I have seen on numerous occasions where these speakers have actually quoted an ayah of the Quran, a verse of the Quran, or they've quoted a hadith, and it actually says the very opposite of what they claim it says. And you can hear it because they've just read it to you. And anybody with a clear mind can see what that verse is really saying. And then they will claim it means something else. And in the process, the verse that they've quoted is actually speaking against them, or the hadith that they have quoted is actually going against them and what they are actually doing and how they're behaving. I've seen this on numerous occasions over the years. And they think they have knowledge. In a way they do. They have what you call rote learning. This is where people have been able to memorize lots of information. But they've stored it in the same way that, like your computer, you save things on its disk. It's stored, it's saved there. But does your computer understand it? You can save the Quran on the computer, and you can bring it up in, whatever software you use to read it. But does the computer, it's memorized the Quran, but does it understand it? What does that prove? No, the Prophet Muhammad SAW here is not saying this. He's saying the best of us in Islam are the best who have the best character. And they are the ones who have the understanding of the religion. A very important point. And following on from that, on the authority of Abu Sayyid, who said, the Messenger of Allah said, Salam, only one who has endured tribulation can be forbearing. Only one who has experience can be wise. Ahmed and Tirmidhi, Mishkat, Book of Warning, Hadith number 5056. So the Prophet Muhammad SAW here saying, only one who has endured tribulation. And what is tribulation? Tribulation, it could be a catastrophe, a crisis, disaster, all sorts of problems and difficulties. And the Prophet Muhammad SAW is saying only one who has been through that can be forbearing. Only they can be people who have steadfastness, the ability to keep on going, the ability to endure, and people people who will have learned through these things. And then only one who has experience can be wise. You see, the wisdom comes through these trials and tribulations. The wisdom comes when we have difficulties, when we face difficulties. It's not we don't read it in a book. We can read it in a book, but if we read it in a book, we don't really possess it in the same way as if we learn it from experience. And when you have that kind of wisdom from experience, you can actually learn more from the books as well, because you understand it better. But you don't understand it in the same way if you've just read something in a book and you haven't gone through anything. Hard one to explain if you haven't experienced, but this is what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is saying. But this is why sorry, not everybody speaks English, I know, but I'm using my language. It's my language. Allah bless you. But where were we? Sorry. Now with this COVID-19, with all of this lockdown and everything that we've been through, it's not just Muslims. In fact, like in any generation, you will actually have, whatever time it is, whatever year, you will have people, individuals who go through their difficulties and tribulations. At any one time, people are going through difficulties. It's part of life. But at this particular time, everybody is going through difficulties. Everybody is going through difficulties. This means that we can turn this into a positive. There is good that can come out of this. And, sometimes when we go through things, we don't understand why we are going through them. We don't understand, if we are suffering ourselves, we can not realize what is the good in that. But it is a belief of Muslims that when Allah sends something or allows something to happen within this creation that affects us, even if it seems to affect us negatively in a bad way, there is good in it. Sometimes the good in it is, in a situation, is obvious. But in other situations, the good is hidden. But it's still there. And whether we benefit within this life or benefit in the next life, i.e. whether it's our life here now or whether it's our soul that benefits. But there is blessings even in difficulties. And so this relates to what is in this hadith here. Only the one who has experienced tribulation, difficulties, can be forbearing. Only one who has experienced can be wise. So there's an implication here. We have to learn from these things. And with this current situation that we're all going through at the moment, we have to reflect on what's happening. Why is this happening? And why has Allah allowed this to happen all over the world? Is this a reminder for us to come back to ourselves, to come away from all of the distractions which were taking us away from the guidance and blessing of Allah? Is it a reminder for us? And, the thing is what are we going to do from here? What did we learn through this? Are we going to go back to everything that we were doing before all of this COVID-19 and coronavirus? Or are we going to learn from this? Reflect, look into ourselves. You see, when disaster strikes, you see the true colors. You see the true colors of anyone. If they are a person of faith, a genuine person of faith, not a person who's just claiming to be Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever, but not really following it. But if that really means something to them, they really have iman, then when a disaster strikes, you see that person go back to their faith, to seek strength in the Quran, or if they are a Jew or Christian, it will be in the in the Bible or something. Yes, people of other faiths do not read the Quran, but they read our character. Well, this is why it's important we look in the mirror. You see, today we have a situation that I've seen too much over the years, where a lot of people, and not only Muslims, but Muslims do it as well, a lot. And they point, astaghfirullah, what is that person doing? I see them, they drinking, or I see them go into KFC, and that's not a halal KFC, it's the other one. And they're judging that person as to who they are as a human being, as to whether they have a good heart, as to whether they are even Muslim or not. If they happen to be Muslim, people are questioning their Islam. And is that person really a Muslim? Because they saw them do something, or maybe sometimes they didn't even see them do something. Maybe they sat down at a table, and that table had a glass of wine or something. They didn't sat down, it's not their wine, it's not their beer. They're just talking to someone. And so they sat down for a moment, and someone else sees that and presumes it's their wine they're drinking. And it doesn't have to be that situation. There's other contexts in which this can happen. They see a man and a woman walking down the street holding hands, and they think they're doing zina. They think they're fornicating. They could be brother and sister. They could be a couple who are looking to get married and they're engaged. It could be all sorts of things that they don't know. They could be cousins. And they grew up together, so they're like a brother and a sister in the way they see each other. And there's nothing going on. But people presume, and they jump to conclusions and start questioning them. Even if these are sins that are going on. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that we should make 72 excuses for someone before we judge them. This is very similar to what Hazrat Isa ﷺ is reported to have said in the Gospel, where someone mentioned something to him, and he said, well, you have to remove the plank from your own eye before you try to remove the speck from your brother's eye. What does this mean? That, we're looking at the fault in the other person, and we've got something blocking our sight. It's our own attitude, our own ego, our own self-righteousness that's blocking our vision, that we cannot see clearly. This is why we need to look in the mirror, and not to look in the mirror just to, oh, I'm handsome, or, I'm beautiful and combing hair. Not for this reason. I mean, look in the mirror at your soul. Look inside who you are. What are my intentions? We're actually taught to do this before we read Salah. We have to check our intentions. What is our niyat? It doesn't mean that we just do that before we read Salah. We should do that before we do everything. Or if we forget, then at the end of the day, we should think about the things we did in that day and check what was our niyat throughout the day. What was our intention in each of the things that we did in that day? This is looking in the mirror at ourselves. Do I intend good for other people? Or do I intend bad? If we correct our intentions, we will correct our actions. Then we will have good actions in our interactions with other people. And they will see this. They will see that this person is a person of good character. They might not understand straight away why this person is of good character, but they will realize that that person is of good character, and they will be drawn towards them. Even in a pandemic situation, even in our interactions on the internet, we're all doing Zoom calls, we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram. What are we doing there? Are we doing positive? Are we interacting in a good way with people? When we are slighted and someone comes back to us and says something wrong to us, do we instantly jump on them and complain? Or do we forgive them? Do we respond in a way with a bit more humility and generosity and kindness? Just because someone treats us bad, we don't have to treat them bad. There is the example of the Prophet Muhammad SAW within his life when he used to walk under this woman's house. Well, not under her house, but we used to walk by her house, and from her window she used to throw things at him. But the one time she didn't, he then knocked on her door and inquired as to how she was. This is good character. It's perfect character. It's excellent character. How many people have this character? But this is the example. When someone treats us bad, we don't have to mirror them. We don't have to respond where we are just as bad as them. We can behave in a better way. This is our choice. If we let ourselves be controlled by our anger, we will be controlled by the shayateen. Our anger is our biggest shaitan. And it will burn us up from the inside before we even get to Jahannam. So we have to always check our intentions and try to just keep improving every day, just improving a little bit, a little bit. None of us start off, in a good way where we treat everybody well and we don't get angry. I remember when I was younger, I have a terrible temper on me. But it's really rescinded a lot over the years. And it's simply because of what I practice through my prayers, through my zikr, through salawat, through looking in myself and working to, see when something's going wrong, to acting upon it. So, before it becomes a problem. So if I'm feeling angry, take a step back, breathe. You can walk away from a situation. You don't have to respond to it in a fierce way. You can walk away. You may think that shows weakness. But if you have the ability to match the other person and you choose to walk away, that is not from weakness. That is from strength. If you give in to your anger, that is from weakness. Because that's true weakness. That's weakness that you're just giving in to your most animalistic and base desires. We get tested through anger. And we get tested also, sometimes the devil comes, like I said earlier, and tricks us to, judge other people and think ourselves to be more pious because we read more prayers, or we fasted more, and we wear different clothes, or we grew a longer beard, or we wear more hijab. We're tricking ourselves. If we think that is piety, piety is not that. Piety is from the heart. Taqwa is from the heart. Taqwa is consciousness. It's being aware of what we are doing and controlling ourselves. Not inflicting ourselves as a punishment upon other people. But of course, today, the world is such that most people behave in that way. They inflict themselves on other people. Very quick to anger. But we don't have to be like that. We can choose not to be like that. And this is the way that the Prophet Muhammad SAW taught us. This is the way that sheikhs teach us. So this is just a reminder, and it is a reminder as much for myself as for anybody else. I'm not perfect. I still slip up. I make mistakes. And, I've been doing this for 20 years and I still slip up and make mistakes. But it's not that we need to focus on. It's, are we going in the right direction? You could get on the train and get off at the wrong stop. Do you stay at that station? Or do you realize, oh, this is Watford Junction, it's not London? And then get back on the next train and get off at London Euston, where you were originally going to go. You see, a lot of people are like that. They slip up, they get off at Watford Junction or Nuneaton instead of the correct destination that they were hoping to get to. And they give up and say, oh, it's just, I'm useless. I'm human, I can't do it. Well, if we give up at every mistake, then we will never get anywhere. The key is that when that happens, we get back on the train and we carry on towards our destination. We're all at different stations on that journey. But the key is, are we going in the right direction? And if we find we're not, either we pause, we get off at the wrong station, or we get on the wrong train, then to correct it and get off, get on the right train and go on the right direction. What I'm saying is, in life, when we do something wrong, we try to correct it. We try to make amends. We try to put things in a right order, how they're supposed to be. Some things we can't fix. If that's the case, just do your best and ask Allah's forgiveness. But always make the effort and always make the intention and the effort in order to try to put things right. This all comes from good character as well. And if people see that quality in a person, they will admire them. They will learn to appreciate them. And even more so in this day and age when it is rare. Of course, not everybody will. We will have people who hate that too. But they are from Shaitan. They are under the influence of Shaitan. So that's how they will behave. But know that if you do what is right and you work towards this good character, then Allah loves you. And Allah helps you. Allah sends things to help you as well. You're not on your own. You're never on your own. Even if all the people in the world were bad character, and you were the only person who was working towards good character, actually in that situation, Allah would love you even more, because you are going against the trend to do what is right, to do what Allah taught, to do what the Prophet Muhammad taught, to do what all of the sheikhs have taught us. So I hope this helps. I hope this is something for people to, I hope this is beneficial for people. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. And if not, then, you can always inbox me with questions as well. If anybody wants me to cover any topic within either my subbets or my Friday reflections, and I will take that on board and do my best to cover those topics. I wish you all the best and hope you have a good afternoon if you're in the UK, and wherever you are in the world, may Allah bless you, make things easier for you, and guide us on the straight path. If there's anything which I have said which is right, then please also do dua for my sheikhs and for the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because these are my teachers, and for my parents, of course. Without them, I would be nothing. Yes, we can do one. You want to? We'll do a separate Instagram one, I think, if you want. That'd be fine. We can do that. Because I'm also broadcasting on Zoom and Facebook, so we can do that separate. But yeah, if you find these videos valuable, and also if there's any mistakes, those mistakes are my own, and may Allah forgive me. If you find these videos useful, don't forget to subscribe to my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channels so you can be kept up to date. I wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.